Hello everyone, thank you very much for inviting me to this webinar series. My name is Antonio Perez Martinez. I am a pediatrician and the head of pediatric hemato-oncology and stem cell transplantation in Hospital La Paz in Madrid, Spain. In this webinar series from Miltenyi University, I'm going to talk about the manufacturing of NK cells for the clinic, which is the Spanish experience we have in our institution. These are the 5 points I would like to highlight in this lecture. First of all, I would like to talk about why NK cells, what is the interest we have in use NK cell in adoptive cell therapy in stem cell transplantation setting, but also as adoptive cell therapy out of stem cell transplantation setting, which are the main limitations we have already with the NK cells in the clinic, how can we overcome these limitations, and which are the data we have in the clinic. How can we overcome this limitation is the point number 4 with the NK cell manufacturing in the GMP facilities. 5, how can we optimize the potency and quality of our NK cell product for our institution. So first of all, why NK cells? Well, as you know, I would like to highlight that NK cells are cells from the main cell from the innate immune system, that they are the ability to recognize their target in a HLA-unrestricted manner. So this is different how T cell recognize the target. The T cell need the TCR receptor that they have the chance to recognize in a restricted HLA manner. So NK cells do not work like that. NK cell effector function is controlled by a complex array of activating and inhibitory receptor that can make difference between healthy cells and stress cells. When we talk about stress cells, we are talking about infection cells, but also tumorigenesis cells or transformed cells. The both hypotheses how NK cells recognize their target is by missing cell rate recognition, is when tumor cells downregulate the expression of MHC class 1, evading T cell response, or inducing cell recognition, how the NK cell recognize the target cell because the target cell overexpress the ligand from the activating resource. These functions are performed in the context of a learning process that starts in the bone marrow of the patient, of the donor. And this NK cell in the bone marrow, they have a light-chain protein is mediated by the acquisition of killer immunoglobulin Ray receptor. In basal stimulation, NK cell cannot work. They cannot recognize their auto own ligand. However, they have the chance to eliminate and to recognize missing self ligands, for example, how you can see in these slides. These properties, so NK cell have to be alloreactive, have to be stimulated to make it to be active and to do the cytotoxic function. So this is how we can do that in alloreactive setting in the stem cell transplantation in mismatch setting. NK cells that are alloreactive, it means they have the KIR inhibitory receptor that is missing in the donor, and the ligand for KIR inhibitory receptor in the patient is absent. So this KIR HLA class 1 alloreactive missing cell is making an NK cell alloreactive, licensing an NK cell, and they have the chance to eliminate the target cell. But also we have seen that in mismatched stem cell transplantation, haploidentical stem cell transplantation in adults and kids, AML can be increase the cure rate when we use this strategy in the graft. But also we can incorporate NK cells in the graft. For example, we can start from apheresis, and we can start from 1.5 to the 10, and after a first step of CD3 depletion, we can enrich our product from 7% of NK cells to 15% of NK cell, but we deplete the T cell from 50% until 0.6% of T cells. And after a second step of 56 positive selection, we can increase the enrichment of our product in more than 99% of NK cells with very low of T cells, and it is efficiently of around, we can infuse around 20 million per kilo efficiently of our process around 50%. Our target NK cell worth 1.3 times to the 9, and we obtain 5 times to the 8, so around 50% of our efficiency of our products. So we can, in haploid stem cell transplantation, we can do both sides. First side is to use a graft with alloreactive NK cells, as Perugia group proposed in 2011, but also we can incorporate NK cell at day 7 as adoptive cell therapy in mismatch identical setting, how the group from St. Jude, Brandon Triplet, and all the groups we are also doing that in our setting with a graft without NK cell, 45 RA T cell depleted graft. They have 45 RA negative cell, who NK cell have 45 RA positive cells, and 34 positive cells in the graft, and we incorporate NK cell at day 7. With this strategy, we have very nice overall survival, 2-year overall survival with very low incident of transplant-related mortality. It means that we have a graft relapse-free survival close to 70% in haploid identical stem cell transplantation, with an incident of relapse about 20%. When we saw the immune reconstitution and we compare NK cell adoptive cell therapy with this haplo without NK cell adoptive cell therapy, we also there is a peak of CD8 positive cells on lymphocytes, and when we do not incorporate these T cells, and more of these T cells are CD8. So when we incorporate NK cell, we see this peak of NK cell, and we saw that the ratio CD4-CD8 is more physiological when we use these NK cells. So these are a strategy that we can incorporate NK cell in the graft, or as adoptive cell therapy with very nice clinical data. However, we know that the property, there is some limitation with NK cell. They are very nice, but NK cell represents only a minor fraction of human lymphocytes. So we need large number of NK cells to achieve clinical benefits. These limitations can overcome by development of expansion protocol of GMP protocol methods. We can do different methods, for example, cytokines, or we can use different sources of NK cell. We can co-culture with irradiated feeders or artificial antigen-presenting cells. For example, in this slide, we can see the advantage and limitation when we obtain NK cell from peripheral blood, of when we incorporate from cell lines as NK92, or when we use IPC cells, when we use also cord blood cells. Most of the difference, for example, we use peripheral blood. Most of our cells are CD16 positive cells. We use NK cell 92. These cells are CD16 negative. So they used to not have the ability to induce a DCC, and we could have some problem maybe with tumorigenesis properties of this NK cell line in immune deficiency patient. So in my opinion, PBNCs are more safety than the rest of the cell, but also have some limitations. Now it can be Senexen, and it depends if we use from allogenic setting or autologous setting. Anyway, different sources can be used from autologous allogenic setting. We need both steps. First of all, we need to deplete other 56 negative cells, CD3 monocytes and another, and have a pure NK cell 45 5 positive, 56 positive, 16 positive, and then we can expand and we can observe the function property, interferon gamma secretion, anti-TGF beta secretion, and also the NK cell cytotoxicity, again different cell lines. Well, in the clinic, how can we do that? In clinic, with previous data we have seen in our preclinical and clinical experience, the use of NK cells to treat pediatric cancer patients is safe and it's feasible. However, the anti-cancer efficacy is limited in time. I mean, so we have said that in different trials we have done in haploid identical stem cell transplantation in solid tumor, but also in stem cell transplantation setting in hematological malignancies. We have seen there is a decrease of the bloods. Most of them achieve complete remission, but MRD is 50% positive, 50% negative, and this response takes around 3 months. So we have very nice curve during the first 3 months, around 70% of response. But however, after that 3 months, patient started to relapse. It means like this this NK cell adopted cell therapy takes some time. So we propose to overcome this limitation by engineering NK cells, so they are doing, improving their cytotoxicity capacity using current NK cells, or improving the delivery to the tumor with chemokine receptor expressing NK cells, or minimize the expression of this NK cell, maybe giving them the memory properties in a memory cytokine inducing NK cells. Until that time, we have infused a lot of NK cell product. We can see that we have not seen any GVHD or any other adverse cell related with cell therapy. However, when we look for a more a positive clinical scenario, for example, AML patient in complete remission, try to do NK cell adopted cell therapy as consolidation therapy instead of stem cell transplantation, we observe that although we do not have side effects, we were not able to decrease relapse, AML relapse. We have the same AML relapse that if the patient that we do not receive allogeneic stem cell transplantation setting. Our last experience with IL-15 with NK cell, our IL-15 stimulated NK cell, we perform in a trial right now. It's called PINK. We are doing haploidentical stem cell transplantation with any platform, cyclophosphamide, post-cyclophosphamide, or 45RA or TCR gamma delta, but we incorporate at day 7 natural killer cells into area. We can incorporate IL-15 stimulated NK cells if the donor recipient are KIR match, and we can infuse only reactive NK cell if donor recipient are KIR HLA mismatch. We perform leukapheresis in the donor, we perform T-cell depletion first and second step of 56 positive selection, and only in the case in donor recipient and KIR match we perform 10 nanogram per ml IL-15 stimulation overnight. We have included 18 patients, 9 patients per arm in 3 cohorts until 20,000 per kilo, 2 times to the 7 per kilo, 2,000 to 5 to the 7 per kilo, and more than 5 to the 7 per kilo cohort. We have now in the recruiting the last 2 patients in the cohort of IL-15 stimulated NK cells. So regarding to the how can we manufacture NK cells, for the clinic in order to have more amount of cells. There are very nice paper from Kolbs and colleagues, and they have observed that they are able to induce more than 85-fold for NK cell expansion. We NK cell product with NCR, NKP30, NKP44, NKG2D trial fast ligand 69 and 137 receptor activation. They have very nice viability, and the killing and the annihilation capacity are against tumor cells are feasible, and they are doing that. Well, we have done similar data in our lab. We have the permission for the regulatory agency in Spain for release these manufacturing NK cells using the Prodigy setting. We have 2 products. One is IL-15 stimulated NK cell that we use in haploidentical stem cell transplantation setting. So we have the specificity to infuse between 20 to 50 millions per kilo of NK cell with a purity higher than 70%, with less than 1 times to the 4 T cell per kilo, because this is allogenic haploidentical stem cell transplantation setting, and also the potency with the granulation have to be higher than 10%, and also the mycoplasma test and the gram per test should be negative, and the sterility have to be also negative, as you can see in the right part of the slide. For activating expanding NK cell using different cell lines, we have similar release criteria. However, because we are not doing haplo transplantation, we are doing out of the haplo stem cell transplantation, in this case in a trial called sarcoma for sarcoma patients in allogenic NK cell, but no haplo graft. So in this case, we can infuse more T cell contamination in the gram, and we are allowed to have more than 1 time to exist per kilo T cells. In that case, it happens. Our experience optimizing the potency and quality of this NK cell in the products, we compare different medium of expansion of NK cell, the class here PMI, stem cell growth medium, the text mass, and the NK max. although we did not observe statistical difference in the number of total of NK cells, expanded NK cells from using NK mal yield the highest NK cell fold increase. We have 903 expansion of NK cells, and the RPMI, it was the lowest expansion with only 388 fold increase. So NK mass yield is the highest NK fold increase, so the recommended medium to expand NK cell. However, at this time we did this project, NK mass were not able to use in GMP. We only research NK max was available, so because our plan was to move to GMP facility, we did the expansion using TexMax. Regarding purity, you can see that TexMax have highest purity with 92%. It's close similar to NK max, 91% without no significant difference. Stem cell group medium show modest NK cell purity, 80%. RPMI show the lowest NK cell purity with 70%. NK mass and TexMax show similar percentage of residual T cell between 1 and 4%. So they confirm that the data are amazing. So we also checked how the bright NK cell was statistically significantly higher when RPMI was used. So consequently, the percentage of dim NK cells, the 66 positive, 16 positive NK cell was highest when we use the TexMax NK max. So this is also a very important topic, because bright NK cell, you do not have KIR receptor, and they also do not have 16 positive receptors, so they are not able to induce ADCC. Antibody dependency to toxicity mediated by cells, NK cells in this case. So activating an inhibitory KIR receptor on NK cell using different culture media also is explained in different. We can see the NKG2A and some NCR receptor and NKP46 are slightly different between different medium, but we were not able to observe difference regarding cytotoxicity against K5C62 cell line with this expansion product. Important topic, we think it's we use different sort of as a starting material, peripheral apheresis, but we also use mobilized apheresis. When we use mobilized apheresis, we observe that at the beginning they have less NK cells than non-mobilized apheresis. This is important point. After expansion, the NK cells, when we use PBNCs as a starting cells, the expansion with 21 was higher than with IL-15 cell lines. When we use the 45 RA positive cell as a starting material that contain NK cells, using the K5C2 MVL21, they have higher total NK cell than when the other and better purity. However, these different were not statistical difference. An important point for us, when we use mobilized apheresis, we were not able to expand a high amount of NK cells. So for us, the better starting material could be PBNCs, so 56 positive cells, or non-mobilized 45 RA positive cells, or non-mobilized apheresis. Well, after we do not were able to make difference between NK cell activated expanding NK cell using different APCs, IL-15, K5C2, MVL15, or K5C2, IL-21 APCs. So the receptors are quite similar. And also cytotoxicity was quite similar using as target A63, or it's sarcoma cell line, or T cell line, URCAT, or K562, or other cell line. In addition, we were able to perform transcriptome analysis of our final product. We observed some difference in genes. using this RNA-seq study. We observed that, for example, more than these different were concentrated in 30 pathways. Most of them of these pathways, when we compare resting NK cell and activating expansion NK cell, we observed that most of these different were related to cell growth, proliferation, cell death, and metabolism, cycle hematopoietic cell lineage, P53 signaling pathway, and pyrimidine metabolism. This overexpressed gene, overexpression genes clustered to biological process, for example, cell division, DNA replication, proliferation, and the underexpressed genes were involved in cell adhesion and cell mutation. Comparing L21 APC and L15 APC, we observe more than 300 differentiated expressed genes, 29 of them showing upregulations. This is in figure number C, and when we perform transcriptome analysis of this, we see that the disenriched pathways were related to the inflammatory response and the immune system response, cytokine receptor interaction, hematopoietic cell lineage, inflammatory bowel disease, asthma pathway, immunodeficiency, IL-17 signaling pathway. This enrichment analysis show clustered to biological process such as immune response, inflammatory response, phagocytosis, complement activation. That is very important in the clinic, but we can have side effects related to these complement activations of microangiopathy of an endothelial damage, or B cell receptor signaling pathway and C cell adhesion. Also the transcriptome analysis, depending of the source of NK cell of starting material, PBNC or non-mobilized PBNC or non-mobilized 45 RA positive fraction. We observe 48 difference in genes between PBNCs and 45 are positive. Heat map colors correspond to gene expression as indicated in the key. Red is overexpressed and blue is underexpressed. In this red line basal NK cell, there was 37 genes regulated, 11 genes were down regulated. In summary, we observed that two pathways were enriched, comparing PBNCs with 45 RA positive cells, NK cell derived. These are regarding with hematopoietic cell lineage, but also the metabolisms of arachidonic acid. So maybe this is important to know regarding how to improve the characteristics of the culture of which metabolism should be added. So finally, this we were able to make this in the NK cell manufacturing for GMP facility. Automated activation and expansion process were performed in Clinimax Prodigy instrument using the T522 inset and the T-cell tractation protocol. We started at day 0 with a culture with using 2 million of pure NK cells and 40 million of the feeder cells. These feeder cells, even K562 MBL15 or K562 MBL20 were previously irradiated with 100 gray, and then they were cultured in the centrical with 70 mils of, in this case, Tex-Max, because at that time we were not able to have NK Max, but now we know that NK Max is recommending at the medium to expand the NK cells in Prodigy. The Tex-Max medium was supplemented with 5% of human AV serum, 100 international unit of IL-2 of 10 from Miltenyi Biotech. NK cells were incubated in the chamber, 37 Grido and 5% of CO2 in a static culture for the first week. And at day 7 agitation got started, and then we were adding medium with IL-2 in order to spread. We observe the viability and the purity of NK cell with both method or higher with very low amount of T cells. We maybe can observe some NK T cells, and the total T cell at the time we can increase a number of a full expansion between 2 and 3 logs of expansion regarding the donor process. So we also analyze the NK cell receptor of this GMP NK cell product. You can see we do not observe any different. We perform 25 activation, 69 activation, NKG2DA, NKG2D, and NKG44, 40C, TNAM1, or key receptor, or CSCR6 receptors. The acceptance criteria for the manufacturing NK cell at the end of the process include viability higher than 70%, cytotoxicity against KFACC2 higher than 50% in a ratio 8:1, 8 effector and 1 target, mycoplasma negative, sterility means 0 colony forming units, and endotoxins less than 0.25 EU per mil, and detectable BCR-ABL if we use cells. So, although, in concluding remarks to finishing my presentation, although TexMass was the most suitable cell culture medium to expand NK cell, because at this time TexMass were able to use the GMP, we now know that the recommended medium is NK cell max. But we can activate and expand NK cell from three different starting material, non-mobilized apheresis, 56 positive cells, but also 40 non-mobilized 45 RA positive T cell depletion. When we use feeder cells, KFACC2 and ML21 is the preferred feeder because they have the number of activation and less contamination of T cells with the rest of the if we compare with KFACC2 L15 feeder. All these NK cells from PBNC or 45 positive expanding NK cell show comparable anti-tumor, anti-leukemia ability, at least in vitro. Finally, we were able to fulfill all the clinical manufacturing of NK cell in automatic closed system, Clinimax Prodigy, by using 56 positive cells using feeder cells. And this we are now running in phase 1-2 clinical trial for kids with refractory sarcoma and leukemia. In both processes, we obtain enough number of NK cells with high purity and low number of T cells of remaining or contamination T cells at day 14 of the expansion. So the feasibility of this clinical assay make this clinical project device a semi-automatic closed system, maybe for it's very easy to do in the clinical setting. We can cryopreserve it, or we can infuse freshly into the patient. We recommend to infuse fresh. And now this is a platform, the first step for more complex step in the clinic using CAR T cell or using bikes or genetic modification, with CAR tracks or stamps or whatever. So I think that's this all. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm happy to have any question. Thank you so much.